What's good, YouTube? This video is going to be about men who are out of your league and staying in your lane. Buddy, listen, I got this question on Instagram, and so I thought I would share it with you all because this is something I come across a lot, especially after the new wave of new creators coming around and going around telling everybody what their scores are and how to judge themselves and how they're not good enough for certain people because of certain reasons. Now, I'm not here for the back and forth bullshit because people get disrespectful on the internet, so I'm not interested in a back and forth with any of these people. But for my subscribers and my viewers, I need them to understand some things. So I'll start by reading this question and then I'll answer it. Someone wrote, "Hey Kev, do you know how to identify your quote-unquote league? Recently, I had my heart broken by a guy who was way out of my league to begin with. I would like to know how to possibly identify my league and stop punching above my weight class and find someone more on my level." I then asked her, "How was he out of your league?" And she said he's someone she would consider high value and high quality, just a lot more intelligent and good looking and successful, moves in successful circles, and has access to a lot more women on his level. I'm not saying that's not how I want to be. I'm just not quite there yet. What I'm asking is there a way of is there a way of sort of doing a self-assessment to see how good of a catch you may appear to be to others? First of all, it sounds like you've been in the black hole of high value YouTube. So with that said, like I said, nothing against those people over there, but me personally, us over here, we're not teaching people to be disempowered for multiple reasons. The first of which, every man is different and craves something different. He has a different paradigm and different experiences. All men don't have the same taste or want the same things or value the same things in women in relationships. Some men can separate their sexual desires from their relationship desires. Some men aren't narrow and simple in the way they choose women. Some men aren't just choosing asses and titties, and some men actually care about the value of a woman's mind, not just the tightness of her skin or the age of her body. With that said, please, please, please stop letting these narcissist fuckboy creators tell you who you are, what your score is, what you can attract, what you deserve, and what you can become, based on how old you are, or how short you are, or how tall you are, or how much you weigh. Those men speak for themselves and men like them. They don't speak for all men. Yes, there are many men who prefer a certain type of woman, a very specific type of woman, maybe a very specific looking woman, but that's not all men. While it is true that every man wants to bang every beautiful woman in the world, period, if he's heterosexual and has a healthy sexual appetite, he wants to ravish every beautiful woman. I cannot deny that. I would never deny that. That is absolutely true of me and everybody else. The difference is some men see beyond a woman's sexual market value and they see into her relationship value, and a lot of that is not being spoken for. Every high value man or leader or alpha male doesn't just want his woman to shut the hell up and be disempowered and serve him. Now, I'm not sure if that's the message of these other creators because I don't watch the stuff they produce, but I know what I come across on YouTube and TikTok and in the comment section and on highlight reels of some of these other creators. And while there's truth in it, it's a truth. It's not the only version of truth. There are many dualities at play at the same time, many that also contradict each other. So one man's truth is just his truth. Yes, there are a lot of men who want the type of woman, the designer type of woman that you've heard about from these so-called high-value men creators. I get that. Men who wish to acquire a fancy designer woman who shuts the hell up and lets him lead, like he would a fancy house or a luxury car. Those people exist. But they are a very small percentage of the population because the vast majority of men don't have that level of access to women and haven't grown that narrow in what they expect from a woman. There are many men who don't have their heads up their asses who are looking for a friend and a life partner and a confidant, more so than just a lover. Men who value loyalty and honesty and an empowered woman's voice over their ability to dominate her and rule over her through financial abuse, mental manipulation, indifference, and a so-called abundance mindset that puts him above her. Just like a real man would never let no woman tell him who he is, what he deserves, and what he could become, or what his score is. A man decides who and what he will be and have and become, as does a real woman. So with that said, if you believe yourself to be low on the scale of whoever's scoring system, please don't go out here and start looking for a lesser man intentionally, as if you deserve less. Just become a greater woman, one who validates and believes in herself a lot more. There's a term in business that says you want to dress for the job you want, not for the job you have. In the same way in relationships, you want to shop for the type of man you want, the type of life you want to have. Shop for people going where you're going. Just because you feel low right now doesn't mean you need to go find you a lowly man as well. Sharks in captive can only grow to the size that their fish tank allows them to grow. In the same way, humans have trouble growing past the confines of their own mind. Please don't place limitations on what you deserve based on what somebody else's score might be for you is. So again, grow, evolve, become a greater person, one who validates herself, one who believes in herself more. Not to get better on somebody's score system of 1 to 10 from YouTube, but to get in alignment with where you want to go in your goals, to attract those things that you want into your life by becoming the type of person who deserves them, who can handle them, to get in complete alignment with your goals and also to grow your own self-esteem. In life, people will believe about you whatever you appear to believe about yourself. That's also a truth. So yes, while it's true that every man desires to screw beautiful women, it's not true that every man requires that type of designer beauty in a woman he chooses, or that he prioritizes it over other things, or that he's seeking access to them, or that he sees them as good potential partners, or that he has the ego, the confidence, or the self-esteem to deal with all the attention whoring that might go on from some of those types of women, or that he values sex over security, or waistlines over wisdom. Or that if he doesn't have access to those types of women and those types of circles, that somehow or another he is a lesser man than someone who does? That he is less valuable as a human being? Or a partner? It doesn't mean that a man is better than anyone just because he has a higher perceived social status or financial status. A man through observation of other people may appear to be of high status. He may appear to be superior, when in actuality in his relationships, through family, through love, through romance, through his friendships, he isn't worth a hill of beans and he does nothing for no one. Now, I will say this. Some men are of high status and high character in their dealings with women, but there is just as many men who are not. They might have the status part, but they don't have the character part, and they don't have the intention to respect everybody they encounter. Some of these men often identify themselves with that perceived status. It becomes their obsession, their calling card, their identity. As some men settle into the ego of their identity of being high-value men, they grow into pompous, narcissistic level asswipes as they settle into their idea of superiority. For example, all of these rich, so-called high-value men in their 40s and 50s and some even in their 60s, who have never had a successful relationship, or a healthy one for that matter, are telling women who they are and what they deserve based on a score system, and still not acquiring a healthy relationship or a successful relationship and still being single, or on your second or third divorce. Which is more likely, that they've never actually met a woman who was good enough in all their sexcapades with the most beautiful women in the world? That they've never met a good woman? Or that they themselves are stunted in such a way that they can't offer their relationships a healthy dose of love, support, forgiveness, and patience. Some of these men have been screwing the finest, baddest, sexiest women for 20 or 30 years and still haven't found a woman that they call good enough. And women wait in line to jump in bed with this high-value man to see what he'll give her, which is absolutely nothing of value. The likelihood that that man even has enough wisdom to properly judge a good woman is slim. Of all the values that a woman's supposed to have for the so-called high-value man who identifies himself with that status and obsesses over what he is and has over what a woman might bring, it's not talked about enough. But these men often can't get past their superiority complex to offer those values to a woman in return. Not for very long anyway, even though he expects to receive all of those things in abundance from his partner. Some men, despite all their money and their status and their high-value bullshit, can't keep a woman around. So to answer my own question to you, again, it's more likely that a man who has had status, who runs in the highest circles, who has had access to the most beautiful women in the world for years or even decades, either isn't looking for a good woman, is too stupid to recognize a good woman, or doesn't believe good women exist. Why then would you contort yourself into a pretzel to fit into his shady-ass crosshairs? Why not just become a greater woman, a woman that you yourself can admire and respect and have more confidence in? A woman that doesn't care as much about what everybody else thinks about her, but believes in what you think about you, and carries that confidence into your new relationships. and interactions. You can't control how others see you or whether or not they have the wisdom themselves to judge your inadequacies or your greatness. To your question, you're not punching above your weight class simply because a man has more money than you or runs in fancier circles. A man is supposed to have some money. He's supposed to produce a harvest. That doesn't mean he's intellectually, energetically, mentally, or emotionally superior to you. That doesn't mean he's out of your league. A person's job or the way they make their money is what they do. It's not who they are. What makes these men that you encounter superior to you is your disbelief in you. So the self-assessment you're asking me for is this. Do I believe in me? Am I confident in who I am and what I commit to bring into the life of the person that I fall in love with? Am I at my best physically, mentally, and emotionally? Do I trust me to protect me, and can I trust my decisions? Am I proud of what I've done recently, and can I commit to doing better if I'm not? And last but not least, am I becoming what I hope to attract? As far as status, riches, and circles of fancy people, if you hope to manifest that in your life one day, the worst thing you can do is create a barrier between you and it simply because you don't think you're good enough or you don't think you're ready for it yet. You'll receive those things into your life when you've grown into the type of person who can handle them. So just focus on your growth and pay attention to men who are growing. And some men have grown financially, but they haven't grown in those other areas. So don't assume just because a man has it in one area that he has it in all areas and he's above you. And don't assume because just like you, a man doesn't have it, that he won't have it or can acquire it. Or that he's a lesser man than those who do. I've never met a person who was out of my league. Because I understand that we are more than our occupations. We are more than what we do. We are more than how much money we make, the bank accounts and the dollar amounts around us. You're walking into a superior subordinate relationship if you think just because a man has a rank at his job that he can do you any kind of way or treat you any kind of way or is automatically above you and superior to you or out of your league. Luck is when opportunity meets preparation. So prepare yourself to receive great things by becoming your greatest version of you, and don't resist greatness when it comes. But even before you reach that place, no one is out of your league and no one is too good for you simply because they're farther on their financial journey than you are. Anyway, I hope that helps. Follow me at KFIC24 on Instagram. I'll get with y'all later.